So we've jumped into raw umber, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine blue. All of these rocks in the foreground will be in the shadows. At least that's the plan. Okay, I'm gonna speed it up a little now. Well, I jumped ahead. I want to put a little bit of foliage in here so it became a little persnickety, and I would have been in the way of the camera the whole time, so I just decided to lay these rocks in. Now, these rocks along the top are quite dark because I want the contrast, I want that strength between the rock and the water behind it. But as we come closer, like we're having this one massive boulder here, I would like that to catch more light, to give it a little more substance. Yes, it'll be cooler light in general, but I want the value to be higher, the values to be higher on here than they are on there. Because we've completed our mission of making this dramatic, you know, dark against light. Now we can gradually work our way a little bit lighter again. This needs to be a little lighter anyway because we need to show there's content there. Plus it'll make a good help for additionally a balance against the left hand side. So let's do that. I'm still using ultramarine blue, raw umber, a bit of burnt sienna. No, a bit of alizarin crimson, sorry. But, okay, that's a bit dark. But we're putting in a little more white. Okay, I'm just going to touch the burnt sienna here a second. Because I don't mind, but you know, there's a little bit in various areas of burnt sienna, so it's probably not a bad idea to use some of that. Okay. Alizarin crimson in there. And I think even, let's add a little bit of yellow ochre. Not too much, we don't want to get too warm with it. Remember, shapes within shapes. And if it ends up being a little too busy, well, we can always knock out some of those lines. That's done easily enough. Yeah, I think we'll stick with using a little more yellow ochre again now. Not to make it look yellow ochre, just to warm it up slightly, that's all. We're kind of... No, we're doing all right. Just take a slice of raw umber and white. Variety. It's cold. Okay. Keeps things looking like they're in the shadow. It's a good thing. Add a touch of ultramarine blue to it here. A little grayer. Working our way around. Okay, so far so good. decided to put a little bit of foliage in here. And I think this idea might come in handy off to the left in the foreground as well. We'll see. But we'll, let's keep that. We want it green-ish, but we want it subdued as well. So I'm just going to mix some cobalt blue with a little bit of burnt sienna. Let's see how that looks on there. Okay, it's a bit high in value right now. I did add a bit of white, so a little too much white, obviously. So let's just go into more subdued colors here. Oh, sorry, not subdued colors, just a lower value. Oops. Switching back and forth between my knives, I really noticed that because of their size and shape, they handle differently. So, and I've been using the larger knife so far, and now that I switched to this one, suddenly it feels so much more delicate. Okay, let me just go over that. That's just too... bit too light there. You know, it's right at the edge of the painting, and as much as I like this little addition to the painting, I sure don't want it drawing too much attention to it. You know, I know that when people look at artwork, they have the initial attraction to it. It's usually because it's dramatic. In this day and age of bright colors, you know, being quite attractive to people, which I can certainly appreciate. But that's just the initial attraction, you know, as when people buy art and they keep it for years, they will notice over the time of their ownership various things about the painting that they did not see before. And if the painting doesn't have those things, then there's nothing new for them to notice. It's like they're sort of it's a bit of a journey of discovery, I think, visually for them. And it's kind of nice if you can slip in subtle but still interesting, I don't want to call them details, although maybe they are not technically details as in small branches, but details as in the way certain colors are handled, certain shadows are handled in different areas. Okay, we'll mix up a little more of that. just whiten this last pile. Okay, now we'll add just a hint of white. Mix up some more of that, add a hint of white. Let some light catch bits of the odd white leaf, I guess. So it looks somewhat three-dimensional. I don't want to go too intense, because again, although if it's a bit intense up close it looks fine, but then you really need to remember what you're doing within the context of the whole painting. Let me just stand up and have a look at that. I don't know if I want that high a value there. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not thrilled with it. But if I have a couple of strokes around it that are also kind of strong, it can help. It's kind of light and smudgy. Let me try to mute that a little bit. At least the smudginess, Okay, maybe the best thing I can do now is just leave it alone, eh? Let me just have a quick stand up and see what the brain says. Well, the brain says we need a little bit more. A little bit more, but not maybe quite that strong. I'd like to go off the edge of the canvas. Okay, now what? What do you say, brain and eyeballs? It might not be too bad. Let's just sharpen this line here. Okay, now I'm getting silly, I'm getting fussy, and I'm fixating. Person's worst enemy. Fixating. There must be some kind of high up, fancy psychological name for that. One thing I do know is that it's counterproductive. It's the opposite of impulsive, and a little bit of impulsivity can look good, or at least the appearance of it on a painting. Okay. Well, sometimes you go to bed way too late. And sometimes you get up way too early. But those are the quietest times during the day. And those times are sometimes the most productive. And then things like this happen. So, here we go. That's good. I like it.